Hey guys, so I'm excited because I figured out, I think, how I can do this tutorial using my Cricut and give you a full scope of something completely different than resin and what I've done before. So I'm gonna have to do a little adjusting. I'm not in my normal workspace. I'm actually working on a 3,000 piece puzzle, and where this is the table I normally do my puzzles at, so that my craft table is good for recording videos, but that puzzle doesn't fit this table, so I had to clear my craft table, and I'm doing the puzzle at my craft table and doing crafts over here in the interim. I'm hoping I'll knock out the puzzle relatively quickly. Like, I don't know, it's a little slow going, so we'll see. But anyway, exciting news is that we are going to do some Cricut work and some fun with that. So I am wanting to do a little gift for my neighbor who has a birthday, and so I always put together, like, we exchange little gift baskets and different things on our birthdays and at Christmas, and so just kind of a fun thing. Put together some things, and she loves to drink wine. Her favorite color is like a light pink, and then I put together a bunch of different little things. So, anywho, I picked up little wine glasses from Dollar Tree. Good old Dollar Tree, right? I'm going to have to, there's smudges on it, so we'll get some alcohol and clean that off. That's no biggie. But they're kind of like a pink tint, which is a little bit hard to tell on the video. They have a really soft pink tint, and we're going to etch these. We're going to etch the glass. And we're going to use our Cricut to cut our stencil. So that's exciting. And then I am going to stencil out a thing to put on here and paint out a little thing that I want to put on the plaque. I guess it would be this way. So, yeah. So I've already designed everything in the Cricut Design Space app. So I have everything ready. And my Cricut is plugged in. This is a Cricut Explorer Air 2. Not one of the new fancy ones, so if you find one and you want to do it, this is old school one, right? So, turn it on, and then, because my daughter just got a phone, my youngest, I am going to use her phone to do the Cricut side of things so that I can keep the recording going. Here is our open button. Open up our Cricut. Look how pretty she is. This is a raspberry color. I just fell in love with this. This was a birthday present to myself a few years back. So, yeah. Alright, so I'm going to bring her phone into the screen. So basically, this is the canvas on Design Space. I've already got what I want on here. Ready, prepped, attached. I'm not going to show the designing of that. That's going to take a lot longer and so forth. So I'm just going to show you from this point to making. Okay. So then, and I'm sorry if you bounce some, this table is not as sturdy as my craft table. So it's just, we're going to roll with it. So we're going to hit make it. And it's going to ask you what material we're using. Are we going to be on matte or off matte? Because I'm doing, oh, you know what? I just realized I'm signed in probably using my Joy. Oh no. You always want to make sure that you're using the right version of whatever you're doing. Okay. Back to our canvas. Alright, so I am on that. So it knows that it's not going to be off matte because it's an Explorer version. So it's on matte. And we have two different size mats. You can have the 12 by 24 or the 12 by 12. This is only going to take a 12 by 12 mat, so we're going to confirm that. And then I kind of look here and see, do I need to move any of these around? We're going to have to, just for purpose of having room to cut in between the designs, because I don't want to have to worry about accidentally cutting when I pull these apart. So there we go. Okay, So I adjusted them on the map. And then we're going to hit next. I've never connected my machine through this app on her phone. So this is the first time we're going to connect it. That's my Explorer. It's asking for the pin because it's the first time. And it tells you it's typically 000 or 1 2 3 4. It tells you what it is. So, and it's thinking. So give it a minute. Make sure your Cricut is on when you're doing that. That's just important. I'll give it just a second. It may take it a time or two. Sometimes it likes to connect and sometimes it doesn't. It just all varies. We never know which way you're going to be. And the way it's taking, it's probably not going to connect. I'll probably have to hit cancel and try it again. I don't know why, but it could just be taking longer because it's the first time I'm connecting on her phone. Now, I'm going to use my fabric grip mat because it's one of my cleaner mats right now. So here's the mat. It's designed for fabric grip, meaning it's going to grip more solidly. It's stickier. But I'm using it because my others just aren't like clean and sticky. So they come with this clear sheet. I like to put a little vinyl design on top so I know which side is top and which side is bottom, so that you don't make a crazy sticky mess. So when it hasn't connected for this long, I usually will hit cancel, and let's try again. What's weird is it found it the first time here. That's very strange. Oh yeah, there it is. Oh, and see, then it connected right away. Like, why? I don't know. Okay, so here you want to select your material. Oh, it's on Smart Set right over here on this dial. So I'm not going to be doing any that's already on the preset. So I want to go to custom so that I can go all materials. It's not an iron-on. It's not a cardstock. It's sort of separated. I'll try to come a little closer. So it's going to be in this vinyl section. Stencil vinyl right here. We want stencil vinyl. So what I have is stencil vinyl. And this is going to be somewhat of a pain just because we're working in a small space and I couldn't get the camera high enough to capture a ton of room and area. So just y'all gotta bear with me, okay? Sound good? We can do that. I have some scraps, but I don't think they're going to be big enough. So I'm going to slide this bad boy back for a minute. And you'll see this is flashing. We're not quite ready for that. I'm going to just lift that up so that we have a little bit more camera room. So here's my mat. It's sticky. This is sticky. Here's our stencil vinyl. This is just stencil vinyl from Amazon. I'll link what I bought or something similar if this particular one isn't available anymore. It's really cheap, y'all. Like, super duper cheap. Okay. So, stencil vinyl is just like what you would think it is. It's for making stencils. It's super cheap. It's thin. And I know we're shaking. I'm sorry. I'm trying to not. This is just my Cricut scraper. You can use anything to give you just a little bit of extra pressure to make sure that we're sticking this down onto the mat. And then I grabbed these two clips from Dollar Tree that I have. And at the end of my mat, I'm just going to clip my roll so that I can then cut exactly where I need to. I'm going to open that back up. I'll bring the machine a little bit forward. Plus it's going to need room behind it to pull that through. And this is where we make sure our mat goes under our little tabs. And now we can hit this button. And it's going to go do its little measuring. And now we're going to hit go. And it's going to do its magic. It's going to move all over the board. And so forth. My dogs are over exploring in the craft area that they shouldn't be in. I spilled a ton of glitter, ironically, the other day. And I haven't vacuumed it up. And I don't want them to be like sniffing at it and inhaling it or eating it, you know, as dogs do. So, just didn't want to have that fun. Okay, so this can take a little bit for it to cut, for sure, because this is pretty detailed what we're doing. So if you open your app, it will tell you that it's cutting and how much it's done. So we're only at 2%. So we're going to do a little prep work while we're waiting for that to continue. So you just want to make sure your app stays open. You can put on your screen lock, that's fine. That won't affect it. So the first thing I'm going to show you, I learned a technique to take these labels off. Well, I didn't learn it. I haven't tried it yet. We're going to try it. You know me. We're going to experience it right here with me. So you take some packing tape. And I know we're doing that over the Cricut, but that's just how it is. And we put the packing tape down on the label. You know what? Instead of like stretching my nails all out, I should just use this. This would be fine. And then they say take a little bit of heat and pull it off, but I'm going to try it without that. Okay. So without any heat, it's halfway worked, right? Okay. Okay. We are going to try the second glass. Since I have two glasses, we're going to try the second glass with heat and see how it goes. Which I'm going to have to figure out the heat gun, but and hope my cord reaches over in this area. Okay, so here's our label. Here's our tape. Here's our blade that came off with it. So I'm going to blast this with a little heat. It may not be in camera because I may not be able to switch. Alright, so I have my handy dandy counterculture DIY heat gun. Just going to go a little bit of heat on this. It's a little bit, nothing crazy. I have it on low. And then peel it. Alright. I feel like that did worse. Don't you think? Goodness. Okay. That's fun. Like, it's exciting. I have to watch. I have a time limit on my daughter's phone, and it just won't worth it. She's approaching that limit, so that could be interesting. I may have to pause y'all and extend her time. Now that came right up that time. So, let's do another strip and not do heat on this other one. Let's see if we can get the rest of this label to pull up. I feel like that just did its best on its own. Okay, this one just... Well, we got another layer, y'all. Okay, let's see if we can get the next layer. Like, come on. Oh my gracious. We're gonna layer by layer get this off. I feel like this is sort of not working. we go again. I don't know how many times this is, but here we go again. Yep, just taking one little layer. We started to get some. Yeah, I might just have to take a scraper and scrape it. But we're so close. That one came out so clean. I want this one now to be clean. Like it. Now you might notice there's like a spot where the piece came out. I think it's going to be fine. Because it's probably a part that we were going to weed out anyway. So I'm not like overly concerned about that. That's, besides the cutting, the weeding is probably going to take us the longest time. And I'll show you what the weeding means. Oh, so close. Let's see here. Just a little bit. There we go. That's not bad. It really didn't leave a sticky residue either, which is nice, so that we don't have to like clean that up. So, all in all, I'd say that technique works pretty well. A little bit frustrating there for a moment, but we're okay. We are okay. Yeah, so this is only 21% done. So I'm going to pause y'all so that I can add more time to her. And then we'll be back. So hang tight with me. Okay, we're back. We now won't have that cut off at 9. Because, you know, by 9 she should be in bed on school night. So that's why it does that. But, you know, we're going to need it probably past 9 because we are crafting late because you know what, that's when a mama has time to craft, and that's just what it's going to be. Alright, so while that is going, I'm going to get some alcohol rubbing. Could make this card really interesting, so we just Alright, so I'm going to clean these cups with some rubbing alcohol. Basically, you just want to have a clean surface to be attaching our stencils to so that we can So, if you don't watch my resin tutorials, this is an Equate brand bottle with Amazon brand alcohol in it because I like to stop on Equate better than the Amazon. I poured some on the paper towel. I didn't do it on camera because, sorry, we got vinyl going. So, do not want that to be an issue. I am going to clean this completely off with that, and I'm going to use the paper towel to set the cup back down so that I don't transfer oils from my fingers back onto it. So, same thing. It's not taking much, it's just enough to, you know, bite through those oils from our fingers. Also get any of that sticker residue off, such. And then put it back. This is what I'm a little bit worried about on that mandala cap, is that it's could be a little too fine detail for what we're going to do, but we will improvise as we go. didn't already have them, but I have these. These are a tool, for putting on your turners, for resin turners. And these little stands you can get, and they open up like that. This goes in there. This goes on the opposite end, and it helps hold your tumblers to your turner, your spinner. So what I'm going to do is I'm using paper towel, but I don't know if the sponge is going to fit in this one. I'm going to do this on this one. I'm going to build it backwards. So see, that's going to help hold it. So now I can hold this without getting my oils on it. And then when I'm not holding it in my hand, I have the stand that this goes in, and this will stand on the table and sit. So that's what I'm using those for. Again, if you don't have all the stuff for tumblers and spinners, and don't have sponges and turner arms like this with the stands, I wouldn't stress about it. You just want to put gloves on before you do anything. It's done, y'all. I can't believe it's done. I'm so excited. We would have made it. I was really worried we wouldn't, but we would have made it. It's fine. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to zoom out just a little. So this is now flashing, which means we can now eject it fully, and that releases it. So really we're done with the Cricut from here. So I am going to close it, and I'm going to turn it off, and I'm going to push it out of the way, and then try to show y'all. I'm going to actually go ahead and just take the Cricut off this table, so that it's not in our way. One day, y'all, I am going, I say it all the time, because I am going to manifest it. One day, I will have an entire studio that is just mine, and I will have a Cricut station that will have recording ability. I will have free table for whatever else I'm doing. I will have a resin spot. We're going to have it all. Okay? Alright. I digress. So here's our clips that was holding it to the bottom, just so that our roll didn't have to come all the way undone. I'm going to show you the best way to remove your mat, and it's flip it upside down. Here's my roll still attached. You could have cut the vinyl to about where you thought it would be. I just didn't feel the need to, since I have a big old roll. You're going to curl your mat. The mat is like flexible, so if you curl the mat, then it allows this to release and hopefully not do what it's doing right here, which is now trying to stick too much the paper, which I'm not overly worried about the stencil part for that coming up, because it's not a part we need. But now it just means my mat has to be cleaned. This has to be taken off of the mat, and a little bit of a pain when that happens, and it takes away some of your sticky. So there we go, but always fixable. Okay, so then I have my cover so that dust doesn't get on the mat. Again, vinyl side up so that I know. This I was just cutting to play around. So like if you first get a Cricut and you're not sure what you want to do, find a design or something that you like in Design Space and cut it out and put it on your mat cover sheet. Alright, so that can go bye-bye. Bye-bye. Alright. So now we got some bubbles in our stencil vinyl. I'm not overly worried about it because the way we're going to be laying it out anyway. That kind of stuff doesn't stress me, oddly enough. I'm basically going to look at in the light, and you could use like I have an actual Cricut slicer cutter thing, but this just is easy for me to use my scissors. And then each design, and we could have put blocks around it. I've never been really good at that. I need to have my best friend teach me that better so that I can grasp it, because I don't feel like I'm confident in it. It's not hard, I just am not confident in it. Okay. So basically, cutting each of our designs out. Now, I'm going to show you another little tip and trick here. Alright. So, this is my stenciled vinyl roll. This is a piece of scrap that I had that probably would have been big enough, but I wasn't going to risk it on a tutorial, so wasn't going to get that, you know, crazy. Here's to remind me it's stencil in case I were to forget. This is my trick. You buy some cheap slap bracelets on Amazon. I'll link it. They're cheap. They don't stick open all that well. So, it takes a minute maybe to get them straight. Some don't ever straighten out, but you can still get them to wrap around. But let's do this one since it's straight and it's fun. Slap it around that vinyl. And now that holds it together. No tape, nothing. When we're ready to use it, we just unsnap our snap bracelet and we get to reuse our slap bracelet. Snap, slap, whatever you want to call it. It was called slap bracelet. I just made up snap for us. Okay. Now, we get to do some fun things. I'm going to get me a chair. And we're going to probably reposition the camera so that I can come more over here with y'all. And I'm going to zoom you in a little. Okay. Sorry, bouncing along. See, one day, y'all, we're going to have it better. Promise. It's going to happen. Okay. So, now it is weeding time. I'm going to teach you how to do that. Cheap way to do this. There are all kinds of tools with Cricut. But I will tell you, the tool that I have loved the most is my homemade one. This is literally a mechanical pencil from the Dollar Tree. And inside of it is a needle, like a sewing needle, okay? And this little needle does the best work ever. Best part, now it's safe for travel. And it's got a needle in it. You click it a couple times, and now there's your needle again for weeding. It's fantastic. I love it. That's been my favorite little thing. I even attached this little, is that like fling the whole thing? I hope I didn't lose my needle when I did that. Okay, no, it's in there. I was like, so that it can hang off of where I keep all my tools. Yep, done. I did go ahead and purchase purple ones that are a needle in it. So it's a weeding pen, and it has a needle inside of it. So we're going to try it because I'm excited to use it. Right. All right. So when we're stenciling, we're actually going to be doing a different weeding than you normally would. Normally, you would want to weed out everything that you around what you cut, because you'd be transferring, say, this design to something. But because we are making a stencil, we are going to weed out all the little details. So we're going to start with this one, and it is Everything Is Fine. I'm going to just make sure that you guys are in my screen. And a lot of times, I mean, people have like, I've seen people with weeding containers, and I've tried a couple before. I just find collecting it on my left hand is the easiest. Be careful to not stab yourself with your needle. And it's just a matter of getting that up. So I want this little part of this E, so we gotta be careful that he stays there. And he's gonna be super duper stubborn and not want to stay there, but we need you there. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to do a double attack to this. We're going to hold that spot down with one hand, and we're going to lift this up and around the other, get it out of there, and then now we can move this where we need it to be, and we'll probably move it again when we actually attach this to the glass. I think that's just going to be what it's going to be. Okay. Alrighty. So I might wait to do those others. I want to feel like I'm making a little bit of progress here, so let's try. Tell y'all, I don't know how your week's going, but my day started out beautifully. Went into the office and one of my orchids has rebloomed, and the bloom, one of the blooms opened, the first one on it, and I was so excited. It's so pretty. Tells me my mama is smiling down on me because she loved orchids and used to never be able to keep them alive, and since her passing, I've actually been able to keep several alive. I've lost a few, but not too many, so that's really exciting. And then I was sitting working, and I hear this bird outside singing, and I know what a cardinal sounds like when they're singing, and so I knew it was a cardinal. It was really loud. And I was like, where is it? But lately they haven't been where I can see them. So I was like, not gonna look. And then I looked up and it was perfectly perched on a tree where I could see it from my desk through my window. I was so excited. I'm like, yep, Mom is shining down on me for sure today. She's with me. And last night we had like 10 male cardinals in our yard, several females. Like, I just love them. We feed the birds and it's a lot of fun. So you see, I'm just collecting all this on my fingers. I'm even going to try to zoom in a little bit more for you guys. I just got to make sure I try to stay in frame and not move around too much for you. Vinyl, some of them go flying. I'll find them later. If you do vinyl work, it's very much like glitter. You will find it in the oddest places at the most random times. Like, I'll probably find a piece of this vinyl on a part of my body a month from now, and it will make me laugh because I'll be like, how in the heck did it get there? Hopefully nobody's freaked out by this, but a lot of times it's in the shower. You find it in a very inappropriate spot and you're just like, what in the world? And it was like a month ago, you know, that you're messing with it, but it's obvious that you like pick it up as your days progress and it like gets transferred or the dog carries it. Can't tell you how many times like you lose a letter on something and you're like, where the frick did that letter go? And then you'll find it in the most random spot. Find it on the dog, the cat. I've only had to recut like maybe 2 times when I was doing like something letter related. It's very common to have to recut a letter because it just inadvertently gets pulled up and lost. I'm just taking some masking tape and gonna transfer the pieces to that. It's just the easiest to get it off my fingers because it was getting so backed up on my fingers that I needed to remove it. Okay, so this little part of the E went flying and I do not want to lose that. So that one we chased down. And I'm afraid this one's going to try to do the same as it wants to come up. Oh, dang it. I just loosen from my E. Doesn't have to be perfect on there. I'm gonna be fixing you later. That A's gonna do it too. Like, don't be a booger. Why does this have to have so many E's in it? Oh, we lost our A over here. That was one that got lost in the cut. We're gonna have to get a little creative on that one. Because with this, it's not like you can really cut a whole nother. I'm wondering if I can use one of the little pads, the paws, and make us one. Unless it's like stuck up under, which I don't think we got lucky enough that it was. No. Shoodle doodles. Alright, let's see if we can. Might have to cut this down a little bit, or it might be okay. Oh yeah, we're gonna make that work. Look at that. See? Everything is fixable. You just gotta get creative. That's all. Like, normally I wouldn't worry about, like, a lot of times you lose the dots of your eyes. That just happens all the time because they're so tiny, and it's like, goodness gracious, you'll be looking all over where'd the dot of the eye like fly to. Well, in this case, I'm not worried about that because that gets weeded out. But okay, you're gonna be a little particular. Yep. Might have to. Sometimes it's just about kind of moving it around a little bit so that you can get it unstuck from the piece that you're pulling up. And I'm not going to be overly particular to have it lined up right here, because we're going to line it up better when we get it onto our glass. So like this is probably was just kind of stuck to this, so it's just about getting it unstuck and then being able to lift this up. It's so intricate. I see it, but I can't get to it. We're gonna get you. Yay! Now we're just stuck to our tool. Okay. It's not going to go anywhere just quickly, so get my fingers freed up. Put these pieces onto this tape. Don't have to worry about them. Now I can use, I was trying to figure out where's sticky and what is non-sticky. Come on, let's get you the right way up. There we go. Okay. Alright, we're almost done with this one. Sometimes you can stack them up a little bit on your needle and then be able to pick it off, which is kind of nice. You can do that. Alrighty. So normally I would probably proceed in, that piece went flying. I would probably normally proceed in going ahead and just weeding everything at once. But I'm a little bit nervous about losing some of these pieces. So instead of doing that, we're going to weed this and then I'm going to show you how to etch. So you'll get kind of an advantage to see that. And then if you don't want to watch the rest of the video all the way through, you don't have to. You'll actually get to see one done and be able to roll with it. Although I'd love for you to watch the whole video, but I get it. Time is not always allowing of that. Come on. This little E. Like I gotcha. Gotcha on here. Okay. So, have that. Here's our packing tape fun. And the nice thing about that is you just cut that off and throw it away, and it's done. I'm going to use it to pick up these few that decided to go flying that I see. Of course, I won't get them all, but it's some. Alright, so then we're going to get some transfer tape. I just found an E still stuck to me. Stuck to my finger. Get a piece of transfer tape. Now, I use just, it's from the Dollar Tree. It's called Magic Cover. It's a transparent, like, kitchen liner. If you can find it when they have it, like, I stocked up and bought a bunch of rolls because when I discovered that this was a thing, a lot of people discovered it was a thing, and then you couldn't ever find any, so I stocked up. Now, I will tell you, if it stays on too long, it's a nightmare because it makes your items super sticky, but for quick things like this, it's perfect. So I just went ahead and peeled the whole back of it off because we're not going to need it. You can use like I'll be able to use this piece a few times to do a transfer. And I'm just making sure it gets fully transferred on to our stencil tape. And then the idea is to take the white back off. And then if you noticed, this little G part did not decide to come off where it was supposed to. So we're going to use our pencil pin and just stick it where it needs to. Okay. Now, I don't have anything fancy to hold like a glass, like straight. You know what I mean? I think you know what I mean. Like, so it's going to roll. So I'm going to let it roll and get to where it's going to stay. And then basically I'm going to put this on, and I want this to get as flat as possible to the glass because I need it to be on there as flat as possible to make sure that we only etch the part that we want it to etch. We don't want to etch like we want it to etch the paws, and we want it to etch our words. Let's see, it's already really sticky. And I may have to do a little finagling with it, which we can do. The biggest thing is, let's get this on. Make sure we don't lose our E's. Oops. Which we'll come back to that one because I'm going to have to finagle there. And the A. I've got two E's and an A. I'll just set that off to the side. So I'm trying to get this to where there's not a big bubble. And if you have to, you can do a little cut in your vinyl to kind of help that flatten out where it needs to. I don't want to lose our shape. It doesn't have to be perfect. I just don't want little bubbles right close to our design. Further out from our design is fine. You just don't want it right where you want the clean lines to be, like right here where the C is. Because if you have a bubble, the cream is going to get underneath that bubble. So down here gets tricky because it's not perfectly straight. So we have to do a little finagling. And the F may not come out perfectly, but it's going to come out pretty darn close. Let's see with this E what we can do. Well, it might just be as close as it's going to get. It's a little bit tricky, but I think we got it pretty darn close. Alright, where'd my crazy tape go? And I'm just, sorry, I'm so focused to get that off of there. This E is definitely a bit funky, but I don't know how to fix him. I don't know. Maybe that's a little better, and then we'll move that. There we go. Yeah. That's a little better. I think I'm going to just pop this, put a little poke in it, and that will pop the air bubble and let me press that vinyl down. Yeah. Okay, we got an A. This is our fake A. Because it couldn't be easy. Oh, I put that on there about perfect. Okay. And then there's the E piece. Got it. Did not center where I wanted it to. Got it. Okay. I'm pretty certain that's not a bubble. It's where it overlaid. Alright. Does this look exciting? Okay. You're gonna want gloves. Definitely want gloves. And part of this will have to go off video just because I have to rinse it. And I don't have a sink in here. So you're just gonna have to trust what I do. So I am using Armor Etch glass etching cream. And this stuff is pretty powerful. A little dried on the outside, but it is still plenty good on the inside. Yep. I had a tool, and now I can't find it. There it is. I am going to use a popsicle stick, a wooden one. We don't use them for resin, but we are using it for this because this stuff is strong, and you don't want it to burn into some other material. One thing I'm going to do really quick, just so that if I get a little bit messy, I am going to put some masking tape down so that the cream does not get where I don't want it. I do have some paper towels handy so that if I mess up, I can get it off, but really etching cream doesn't take long to start doing its thing. So you don't want to be worried about it, I guess. Is like, you gotta move quick. You do want to be worried about it. You don't want to just leave it where you found it. or where you laid it by accident, because it's going to etch your glass, which is what you want it to do. So it's just doing its job, but if it's not where you want it to be doing it, you want to make sure. Okay. So, get some of this on here, and you're basically just going to spread it all over the design in which we are doing. And you can hear that it's kind of gritty. That's the stuff that eats away at the glass to etch it. So that's what you want. You want this to be fully covered. And your possibilities are really endless when it comes to this. You'll notice my container is not super full. My best friend and I did a big project where we etched some glass of a shadow box frame. And that took quite a bit of etching cream just to get it on there. So you want to put it on relatively thick. If you notice a spot thinning, you'll want to add a little more. But the other thing you want to do is like kind of keep moving it around. And then we want to watch our time. Okay, so it's 9:24 where I'm at. And the reason why you kind of shift it is so that if there's a spot that's not getting it, it's going to help get it. And it helps just move those granules around, because those granules are what kind of does its job. And basically your stencil is protecting the areas that you don't want to be etched. So that's why you want it to be nice and sealed, because if it's not sealed and this cream gets underneath, you're going to have a blob and not as defined of a pattern. So there's various things out there of how long to do it. It's been a while since I've worked with it, but I remember doing 5 minutes on and then washing it off. I've read online because it's been so long, and they say typically a minute and then wash it off. 5 for a deeper etching. So 1 is like just to get the etch started, basically. 5 is to get it deeper in there. So I'll probably do about that. I'm gonna have faith. Well, it's all gonna work out. You see, I just am kind of, you know, keep shifting it, making sure I really can't see where my pattern is, but that's okay. I'm just kind of getting it moved around. It's a big old granular. Okay, so it's already been about 3 minutes probably. I didn't have seconds on that, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause this and I'm going to go run this under the sink in some lukewarm water, rinse this off, and then I'll bring it back up and we'll take the vinyl and tape off of it so that we can see what has happened. I'm going to put the lid on this armor edge back on. Don't let that roll all over. Doing this one-handed and not in your normal craft space. Yeah, we got it. We got it. See, this is how it is. I'll be right back. Alright, so we're back. I was going to try to keep water out of this. it didn't happen. Water went all over it. So, anyway, that's fine. It'll dry out, right? I'm going to take my gloves off because otherwise I'll get stuck to this tape. We'll see if this worked. Like I said, it's been a while since I've done etched glass, so I always get a tad anxious when we hit to this point. Not gonna lie. So you should just be able to peel this off. And of course we'll have a few places that we gotta get our pin to peel that off. I don't think it etched it. Like, I don't think 5 minutes was long enough. It didn't etch this worth a darn. Dang. Well, that was a complete fail, it looks like. Because normally, like, I can see the pause a little bit. So, let's see here. Let me get some rubbing alcohol to help us. They lied. 5 minutes was definitely not enough time. And normally, like, you could take the rubbing alcohol and it would clean it and make the spots that are etched pop a little bit. But that didn't, I mean, that didn't do a darn thing. I don't even know which side was etched, to be honest with you. Let's see if I can figure it out. I feel like I just wiped the etching completely off. Yeah, I don't even see paw prints now that I've cleaned it. What in the world happened? I think it was etched a little bit right in this area, but you really can't tell. So, good news is, it didn't ruin the glass, clearly, because it didn't etch it. So, I'll be able to try it again, and, yeah. That was an ultimate fail. Ultimate fail. That was rather anticlimactic, for sure. I don't have too many of those happen, to be honest. I guess I'm pretty fortunate that I don't, but that happened. I mean, I feel like I would have been better just putting vinyl on it, but that doesn't hold up in water. And etching will last longer. So, I'm going to give it up for tonight. When I have something like that happen, I need to regroup myself. So, I'm kind of just winging it at this point. What I would say is that I will not give up. And I think that I'll still post this video so that y'all can see a fail. And then maybe this will be a multi-parter and we'll have some success. That's what I think will happen. So anyway, stay tuned for another part of this and hopefully a success the next time. I'll see you guys again soon. Bye.